popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault.
What is up, little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes? It's your boy, Eddie Collins.
Guys, it's Justin Brown.
And we are here with a bonus episode of Medium Popcorn. Extra butter in your ear and your mouth and all the orifices with a little bit of salt. Don't worry about where it's from.
Okay.
But we are talking about the newly released Roadhouse remake that's on Amazon Prime, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor, along with Jessica Williams. She's looking delicious in this. They should have made her the main love interest, but they would never do that.
Yeah.
And it's directed by Doug Liman, who's done such films as Edge of Tomorrow, American Made, The Firstborn Identity, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and a few other things, including Jumper, which is infamously bad, which we have never reviewed on this show, actually.
Jumper.
Is with Hayden Christensen and Samuel Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
We've never reviewed that. Lluvia, if you're listening, added it to the list.
Yeah.
I gotta say, okay. And you told me a little bit about this because, folks, Justin was able to see this movie a week before I was for my screening. And so he had a heads up on what we were about to endure. And mind you, remember, folks, you can listen to our original Roadhouse episode on our backlog in patreon.com/medium popcorn. I knew nothing about Roadhouse until Justin brought it into my life.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I'm not being facetious when I say that movie changed my life, because it's so batshit crazy, yet so fun, yet so like takes itself seriously. It's a classic in my heart. It is. It truly is.
100%.
Between Patrick Swayze, just roundhouse kicking niggas in the face with raw denim and no underwear because he's raw dogging the hottest. Kelly Lynch back in the fucking 80s was a baddie.
Oh, yes, she was.
Like that was the thing with this movie that like I don't want to go too deep into like the female protagonist and how I just didn't find her dynamic at all. But Kelly Lynch in Roadhouse, I was like, I can see why Dalton would kill somebody for that. Or why he would stay in town. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Yeah. But man, I mean, what were your general thoughts on this remake, Justin?
Okay, so as you know, I love myself some Roadhouse because for all the reasons that you said, it's probably one of the most ridiculous movies, but it's the right amount of ridiculousness.
It does go over the top, but it works.
Yes, like they pull it back just at the point where you're just like, that's right. And even though Patrick Swayze was not believable, in no case as that guy, he was not him. But for that movie, in just that time, in that little cusp, he was him.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
I want to watch original Roadhouse now. Like, can we just turn that on? Can we just put on the 80s?
I went to this, and my bar was very low.
Mm-hmm.
It was very low for this.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm just going to give snap judgment right after I watched it, I was just like, Jake Gyllenhaal did his thing.
Yes, but don't you think? I mean, I read an article recently about Jake Gyllenhaal torpedoing this independent film. And then like Hollywood tried to say like, oh, that's not what happened, but it is what happened. I think he's a psychopath because he seems like the kind of dude who can play charming, but is actually like secretly fucking crazy. But his acting is like, I can be charming. You know what I mean? That's what he was in this. It was like, there's moments where I saw peaks of Nightcrawler in it. I don't know if you ever seen a Nightcrawler movie.
Of course, yeah.
But he was able to pull it, like it's like his vibe was telling him, pull it back, Jake, pull it back. You do the crazy eyes too much because
don't give it to him.
I don't want to interrupt you more, but like I mean, the twist with Dalton, the change that they made with him in the third act was nuts compared to the original.
Yeah.
I said out loud in the screening, I was like, "Oh, we're doing that." I'm saying, "Oh, he's just becoming Mike Myers now."
No. You know what? Though, like, and I knew that was going to come up. They knew that was going to come up, and I don't think it's necessarily the wild part, the wild thing that you think.
Well,
I think there's a
let's
lot
rip
of
the Band-Aid off because we're being like coy about it.
yeah, I know. So, all right. So if we're jumping to what Brandon's talking about, it's basically that Jake Gyllenhaal is just like, I don't like when I lose control because I hurt
I
motherfuckers.
kill people.
I can really hurt people, and if I lose control, I will fuck somebody up. And it's like you push me to that point, I will fuck you up.
Yeah, because we learned that his UFC career ended because he was fighting a friend in the ring, and he just lost control and basically beat the dude to death, a la
Yeah,
Apollo Creed.
the guy ended up dying.
Yeah, I mean that was a tough punch. I'm surprised the ref didn't pull him the fuck off of him. That was crazy.
Well, I mean, he did pull him off of it. I guess he
Yeah,
and ended up killing him. Which, but the thing is, as a martial artist, you hit a point where you realize, okay, I shouldn't be fighting regular dudes out in the streets, right?
oh yeah, right. Isn't that like a crime? No, that's a. You said that's a myth, right?
Yeah,
You always said that's like a
or
myth about
yeah,
the
it's like yeah,
illegal hands and shit.
that's not a thing. But it's
This
like
nigga was slapping people, breaking limbs. Like he was.
so you realize that you should not be fighting regular guys on the street because you're just like I'm far more equipped and I can really hurt somebody. And beyond that, you just realize what fighting and all of this what comes with it, and you understand the true risks and how easily it can go from 0 to 100. This movie 0 to 1,000. But
Yes.
with all of that said, that's a real thing that like once you realize it, there's no going back. And then there's a point where, all right, I have all of these skills. I'm holding back all the time because I don't want to fucking hurt nobody. But then you hit a point where you've been pushed so much where you have no other choice to hurt someone.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they jacked up the little swirly girl like pretty bad, and they just like didn't want to show us because they're like she's in the hospital and he's just like and then like he goes to the house and murders that one dude.
Yeah.
And it was just like okay, like because I mean I gotta say this was filmed in the Dominican Republic, but it takes place down in Florida, like some random part of Florida, and it made the Florida people seem fucking nuts.
I mean, Florida, man.
I know, but as soon as he got off that bus, first of all, a Greyhound bus would not just stop at that one location. Like that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That little tree. And then the little girl like, did you see the tree coming in? I'm like, I know a pitch if I ever heard one. I am buying your book, little church Jehovah's Witness girl.
Yo, when she said that, I was just like, you in the middle of Florida. That is not a welcoming statement.
Yep.
Tree coming in.
Also, you own a bookstore in Florida. Like that's a failed business model.
100%.
Ooh, shots fire.
They might as well. No, there was a reason they burned your store down. They were coming to do it anyways.
Yeah,
I did black owned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, niggas read it. Nope. There was all kinds of racial undertones to everything that happened in this movie, but especially in regards to Jessica Williams and the black family. Yeah, because they were torching any other businesses.
Well, no, they got all the other businesses sold already.
No, but remember, like the liquor store and stuff, they were terrorizing them and stuff, but they weren't blowing that shit up. They were blowing up the black bookstore and the black bar.
Like, well, I mean, but part of it is because Dalton was in there, commingling with that little girl, which when the guy said him was like, that sounds really fucking weird.
Also, when he went to the bookstore and he wanted to use the computer, he never did anything on the computer. I was like, what the fuck is Dalton about to do? He went to Google, and I was like, what's he about to Google? Like,
oh yeah,
I'm just like, you know what I mean? I'm like, Dalton was about to do some shady shit on that computer.
He's like, can I use your computer? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna clean out their account.
Yeah, I thought it was like a library computer or something like that. No, it was like the dad's personal computer. I thought he was gonna find out that the dad was like in cahoots with the bad guy or something, but no, it's just like a random before the dudes are terrorizing the other businesses.
Well, no. That's where he wanted to check out. Is like, all right, why are they after these areas? So like that was the reason he jumped on the computer.
Which is so weird. Why wouldn't Jessica Williams just be straight with him? Like she's literally setting up. There's a reason why she has high turnover. She's setting up niggas to fail. It's like, all right, come. I'm gonna pay you like 4Gs. I'm gonna pay you
20K for the
20K for the month, right?
Money, man.
20K for a month, but you don't know that you're getting pulled into like some local political corruption shit where niggas will really try to kill you if you just kick them out of a bar. Dalton got stabbed like 4 times.
So here's the thing. Brandon. Considering all of the damage that's being done to her bar, all of the other craziness that's going on down there, how she got 20K to pay it, motherfucker?
That's what I was saying. I did like that like they addressed what we talked about the first movie, which is like, nigga, you're just gonna pay him like 20K a month or something like that in this small town where she's like, I'm gonna pay you that for a month. Like, don't get attached to like that salary.
Yeah.
Like she was very clear. Like, hey,
he was just like, listen, I fucked up my car, 20K. That goes right into a Subaru.
But even if she only has to pay taxes, let's say like the whole like the property's paid off, right, by her uncle, right? Jessica Williams still like conservatively, she has live music, she has a full bar staff, she has a mate like clearly like some type of janitorial staff. There's no way, like to your point, there's no way that she's clearing. She would have to clear half like $1 million.
Yes.
Like a month to make this shit work. Like
it's one guy.
20 G.
Guy. Like, but even so, it's like it seems like because it's tourism and like the tourism wouldn't bring in 20K a month.
I mean, it did look beautiful, but again, it was filmed in DR, so it wasn't even Florida.
Exactly.
They're trying to do some false advertising. I mean, like when she because when the love interest, the nurse from the hospital takes them to that one like low shallow water area, and they were selling the little folding chairs. So I was like, that's dope. That's a dope scene. Like, there's some really cool cinematography in this movie, and there are some really cool like action sequences, like fight scenes, and the way they shoot them and stuff. It reminded me a little bit of like Matthew Vaughn and what he did with Kingsman and stuff like that. Like the way that he does the spinning cameras, like you're getting deep into the action, so it's kind of like disorienting. But the problem for me with this remake was it didn't give me enough new to justify its existence, if that makes sense. Like, I would have rather see Jake Gyllenhaal do like a Wanderer, like a Western, but it's like, it's like it takes place in Florida, but it don't call it Roadhouse. Just you could easily have done this in a different like capacity. He could have been just like a wanderer going to a new town, like Reacher, or he could have been like hired. There's just so many things they could have done to not make it a Roadhouse remake.
All right.
That would have been just as fun in some respects.
So this is the thing. Like I think that Jake Gyllenhaal did a good job with this. I think.
Oh yeah, he was committed.
I think that the rest of the cast, not necessarily all of them, because I and a shout out to Arturo Castro. I think
he's funny.
Yeah, he was funny. That like he was the comic relief. And
when he saw Jake Gyllenhaal lifted up his boy into the truck, the dead body, he was like, "Oh fuck, oh shit."
He's like, "Oh no, oh no."
And just after he's broken his arm, but he was so polite about it. He was just like, I mean, that was really funny. Like, there's some really wacky scenes, like when he beats the shit out of the dudes that you see in the trailer, and then he asks Jessica Williams, "Can I borrow your car?" And she's like, "Not for these assholes." Like, come on. Like the hospital's only 20 minutes away, and he's driving them all
in the car, and they're all sitting behind him. He's driving us,
and then he's like bump, and he has a speed bump, and they're all like, "Oh!" And then that nigga still trying to kill him on the boat. I'm like, bro, he helped you.
Yeah, like, bro, come on now, could chill out.
He got eaten by a gator.
Yeah,
that was a new addition.
Wild. That was fucking wild.
Well, that's what I was just like. Oh, so Dalton's already bad. He fed a nigga to a gator.
Well, no, he didn't. He didn't realize. They warned him about the gator, but like I don't think that was like that was.
It wasn't planned, but once he saw the gator coming, he started like making it hard for the dude to climb up.
No, he was trying to help him out.
Oh, I didn't get that. I
got
that.
No. He was trying to help him. He was trying to help him out, and the gator got him. It was just like because remember he was trying to grab him. The dude, it was nothing.
Oh no, I thought he was fucking with him.
No. No.
Jake Gyllenhaal was like, "You trying to get up, nigga?" Because it was funny because he threw the gun, the dude's gun in the water. He said, "Well, that's stupid. I'm just gonna climb back up and kill you." It's
Yeah.
like, well,
And all of a sudden the gator snacks him. He's like, oh no. Because like if you looked at it, well, I mean, like that scene, you see like Jake Gyllenhaal was like, holy shit.
yeah,
He got that holy shit. But like, all right. So again, I think Jake Gyllenhaal did a great job with this. I would say that the rest of the cast, with the exception of Arturo Castro, and who's the guy who played Ben Brandt? He was
oh,
okay.
Billy Magnet in the some who was like in the last James Bond movie. He's
Yeah.
been in a few things, Game Night,
Mhm.
Aladdin. So my issue with him though is why didn't he have an Irish accent? His father had a deep Irish accent. Everyone mostly around him, except for like two of the other henchmen,
Yeah,
had
but
Irish accents. It
he,
didn't
he,
make
he
any
could be
sense.
he could be born in the United States. His
I
dad.
guess, but they were like saying, "Well, born and raised in Florida. My dad like bought all this property in Florida." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, his
I
dad
mean, it
was
could
an
still be.
Irish
Yeah,
dude.
it could be
Comes
a.
from Ireland, who's a fucking gangster, buys a bunch of. That'd be like saying like, why doesn't Jackson or Axel have Irish accent? I mean,
Yeah,
have a Finnish accent.
yeah.
But like I thought that those two, I mean, Billy and Arturo did a great job with this. The rest of the folks were blah, and I think if we're giving out Razzies, Conor McGregor gets all of them.
Yeah, I mean,
He
Jessica
was
Williams was very stiff.
atrocious.
Jessica Williams was very stiff, even though she looked delicious as Frankie, the bar owner. Daniela Machikor, who played Ellie, the love interest. I don't know how she keeps getting gigs. Like she was in Suicide Squad. I don't get it. I think she's very blah. And then also her accent is incredibly thick. Like I needed subtitles for her and Connor at times.
Yeah.
And then once her dad, as the sheriff shows up, and before we get the reveal that that's her dad, I'm like, that's clearly her dad because they both
Mhm.
have similar accents. Like,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I will. Connor was dubbed, right? Like he did,
Oh,
it was like a Bane sound effect. Like he had to record over his own voice, like at times, right? Because the
you mean
audio just changed, like the
yeah, the
levels.
ADR?
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure they had to do some heavy ADR on him. Yeah,
yeah.
because
He
it was wild.
his
Because there were some
character
times I was just like, wait, what?
his character Knox is one of the most unhinged. He was like a Tasmanian devil. Like he was so fucking crazy. And the thing is, I think he would have got like a Omar from The Wire by like a local. Because when Dalton beats up the crew the first night, right?
Mhm.
When he's at the bar, the next day everyone knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
Everyone say, "Hey Dalton, hey Dalton." And he's like to Jessica Williams, like, "Did y'all have like a town meeting about me? Why does everybody know my name and shit?" And so for Conor McGregor, like, first of all, we meet him butt ass naked in the streets of like some kind of Mexican or Spanish city.
No, I
And
think he was in Europe.
was he in Europe? You think he was
Actually,
in Spain? They were speaking
it's hard to
Spanish.
it's hard to say. It's hard to
Oh,
say.
oh wait, he was because I thought he said a Riva like being a sarcastic asshole.
No, I think he was in Italy.
Oh, okay. Well,
They
maybe.
flew him
But
out.
he's walking around the town square just butt ass naked with his little Connor strut. He doesn't know how to walk any other way, apparently.
Mhm.
Like Popeye, like
He
he
looks like
just
he has to shit himself.
yeah, I mean, he literally walks like a real life Popeye. It's fucking crazy. Um, which I'm terrified that they're gonna cast him in the Popeye live action they just
Same.
announced. I hope not. It's gotta be Tim Robbins, right?
Listen,
Tim Robinson. It's gotta be.
I don't know who they're gonna do, but it's not gonna be Connor. I think that there's some things going on. I don't think that you're gonna see Connor in many films after this.
Why you say that?
Huh? Well, for one, excuse me. At the screening, he basically hogged the mic and he turned the Q&A into the Connor show, which it seemed like the cast was none too pleased about that. And then on top of that, so basically there's two things. One of them is, that what I just spoke about. The other part is Conor McGregor was on ESPN. Interview just came out, and he talked about how he didn't pull any punches while filming Roadhouse, and he dropped several stuntmen with kicks, to the to the ribs, to the head, and things like that. And he's kind of boasted about it. He's like, I hit the guys, they hit me. I had no issue with that. I'm like, but I'm pretty sure they hit you because you were hitting them. It's like, and they had no issue. They told me to fucking no, hit them for real. I said, are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty. That sounds very Steven Seagal.
Yeah, they wouldn't have let him fight for real. That there's no way he would have had a stunt double. And there was times when they were fighting where I could tell, like, oh, that's not Jake, that's not Connor. You know what I mean? Like, he's too. His agents wouldn't let him do that. Like, no one in the right mind would be like, for this movie, you're gonna actually do your own stunts. They would never do that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's different stunts, but like the fight scenes, yeah, he's going to be a part of that stuff. But the fact is, and he's both of us, like, yeah, I can throw yeah, Jake can throw a backhand, he can throw a jab, da 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 da. Da. But it's just like he's talking about like, yeah, I was hitting people. Like I don't because now
he's fucking crazy.
He's becoming that's a liability. Because Steven Seagal, I mean, he's notorious for being like the worst person for a stuntman to ever have to deal with on set because he will hit you. He will hit actors. He doesn't care. Now you have Conor McGregor, who is like a fighter.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, yeah, I hit, a few people and stuff like that. And, whatever. Nah, I feel like he's hurting himself. And I don't think he realizes it.
Because I mean, he's a self-saboteur.
Well,
he's
no,
Irish.
It's not the fact that he's a self-saboteur. He has an ego, and he thinks that he could just do whatever he wants. And I think that doing like hogging the mic at stuff like that at the premiere, and then like hitting on stuntmen, the way that he was doing is like I don't think that that's necessarily going to go too well in the business. And unless somebody has a film for him already, like, or, they're like, yeah, we signed Conor McGregor. I don't see someone doing it again, especially considering how bad he is at acting. And like, so there were scenes in this. One scene in particular. So Conor McGregor literally pops up in scenes like he's a Kool-Aid man. He breaks into scenes.
Yeah, he's fucking nuts. Like he literally crashes into scenes. Like he'll like have like a student driver car just speeding through the city, like, and then he'll crash into a tree. You're just like, am I watching a Looney Tunes cartoon? What's happening?
Like it's so cartoonish and wild. In my opinion, he kind of when he was on screen, he was kind of tanking the movie.
I mean, the movie with him, it was like, it just reminded me of like tonally, this movie's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's trying to be comedic. It's trying to be like a straight action movie. It's trying to be kind of a romantic drama.
Yeah, but if you have an action movie, they always throw some pretty little piece in there.
I know, but it only works when everyone's like on the same page, when everyone's like at the same level, and Jake Gyllenhaal's just a different tier than most of the actors he's engaging with. And so it's blatantly obvious. And that's why you get like these tertiary characters that don't really add to anything. And it just feels like extra fat on the story. Like there's an additional henchman from like there's this kid from a Netflix show that I recognize, the Mindy Kaling show, who randomly pops up as like this tough henchman. He like slaps Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'm like, or he punches him on the boat. I'm like, where'd you come from? Like, why are you a thing? There's other henchmen that we've seen earlier in the movie that are still alive. Like, why is this a thing? Or like the Lucas Gage bartender, like, the bouncer, right? The kid is able to punch one dude who had a knife on him, and suddenly he's number 2 bouncer now.
Well, like, no, he just needed help. Every bouncer is gonna get some guys who are gonna be like his right hand man.
Okay. But, and then he recruited the other the tall brother.
Yeah, because he was just like, he's like, you used to do something. Like he's like, yeah, I used to box. He's just like, yeah, I think we're gonna use
now.
You.
How much do you think they were making a week?
What do you mean?
How much do you think the other bouncers were making?
Them motherfuckers were working off tips.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Lucas Gage was there before him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and he has a black eye when we first meet him, so he's already been fucked up. And so, if he's talking to Dalton just like kikiing and shit like that, Dalton's having his little Cuban coffee or whatever the fuck that was. Mind you, one of the bartenders, this little cute white girl, she drinks over food for him and shit, clearly trying to fuck. Like it was just there's weird scenes like that. Anyways, Lucas Gage, he just kikiing it up with Dalton one day, and he'd just be like, "Hey man, like how much they pay you to come out here?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm making like 5K a week, man. 5K a week. I could have a mansion for that kind of money." He's probably getting paid a box of fish sticks and some graham crackers every week.
You're fucking stupid. Yeah, it was. I mean, but I guess it's the thing is like she got him because they're like, well,
he's homeless.
Well, yes, but also the
He's
fact is
living in
like
his
when
car.
she finds him, basically doing like that underground fight club thing.
Where Post Malone is apparently the victor.
Yeah, yeah.
That was crazy.
He's just like, yo, those people, they wouldn't even fight you because they know who you are. Like you strike that much fear. It's like that guy who I was coming to see was just like, I ain't fighting that motherfucker. It's just like, then I realized who you were. So it's just like, okay, so like all of that makes sense. And it's just like, all right, well, if I just get a guy like this, maybe it'll even scare them away to the point where they don't even want to fucking come in here. So I get why she's paying him that kind of money. All of that checks out.
Okay.
But if I was one of those other guys, I'm just like, yo, half the night he's just sitting there drinking coffee, not even doing anything, and we're the ones bouncing. Not much has changed.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that so we know if shit goes bad, this motherfucker can clean out this entire place.
Okay. I guess. I mean, he literally watches the Roadhouse go up and like shamble when Conor McGregor shows up. He's just watching chaos, and the dude's like, Dalton. He's just like, I guess I'll finally do something.
You know what?
And then he gets rocked. Like Knox fucked him up in that fight.
Oh yeah.
So he was like, I'm not leaving. They didn't run me out of town. I'm like, nigga, they ran you out of town. Like he's trying to add tougher. I'm like, bro, they fucked you up.
So it's funny, like, hindsight. I mean, obviously, we're running on a time frame that was kind of tight.
Yeah.
I wish I would have got my boy Brent Maddox, he was like my first trainer. And he used to fight like overseas, stuff like that, and he trains a UFC fighter. And he was a bouncer at this wild bar in New Jersey that I used to with him all the time. And they had some like Roadhouse, the first Roadhouse-esque brawls at this place. So one, like there's a story where this dude basically tried to go after other bouncer and hit him in the back of the head with something while he wasn't looking. And this dude hit this guy one-shotter and busted his eye socket, like broke his orbital bone. I should have got him for this movie.
We'll get him on. We'll get him on for Roadhouse. We
gotta get him on a future one.
No. Apparently, there is a Roadhouse 2 sequel. Actually, it was direct to DVD called Roadhouse 2: Last Call. So Lluvia, again, our producer, put that on the list, please.
Wait,
we'll get your boy on for that. Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be UFC fighting. I think it's going to be god awful, but we got we'll have some fun with that.
Maybe we'll bring him on. We'll bring on his fighter.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a heavyweight in the UFC. He can tell you some wild stories about me, as a young man before you even met me.
Oh God, I was really confused as to why this movie. Like, I know they were like initially were like playing around with Nick Cassavetes and Ronda Rousey doing a gender flip remake, and then it became this, and I'm just like, I'm still watching it. And while there are moments where I'm like, oh, that's cool. That looks cool. Or that's a dope action scene, for real. There was just some weird changes from the original, which I get, like you're modernizing it, and you're also trying to make John, Dalton almost like John Wickish. and stuff like that in a way, but it just never fully gelled for me. And I think for me, that's why like when the lights went up after 2 hours and 1 minute, I was kind of like, oh, I can see why they didn't release this theatrically. Like, no disrespect to the creative team and stuff like that, but if I'm MGM and Amazon, I watch this movie, I'd be like, yeah, after opening weekend, this is gonna bomb. Like, this is gonna have a huge drop. We're gonna be out of theaters within a month. I don't see this having repeat viewing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I think yeah, I just don't see it. And I think if you're a fan of the original Roadhouse, you're gonna watch this and be like, yeah, there was cool parts, but I don't know why they had to remake that.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it's just such an insane story that you gotta like. It's a really hard tone to, like you said earlier about the 1989 one. It's a really the balance that they had in that original. I don't know if you can replicate that, just because you escalate so crazy in that movie between ripping out necks, monster trucks, fucking bears, like like well,
yeah,
not actual bears, folks, but like a bear statue. Like it just is so crazy.
yeah.
And this tries to do something similar with like absurdity, but it comes off cartoonish at times. Like when the bad guy's getting the neck shaved on a rocky boat, it's like he's
Hey, what
calling
do you
every
expect?
he's calling everyone else around him stupid, but it's like, bro, but like I get it, like it's supposed to be like, oh, it's the pot calling the kettle black, but that's way before we get Connor in this. So you're kind of like, so he's dealing with buffoonish villains. So I never worry about Dalton. The
Yes,
only
yeah,
time when I worry about Dalton is literally like they do let Connor fuck him up in that first fight together.
yeah.
They have 3 encounters. One is at the bar, and Connor fucks him up. Mind you, I did love that the bands kept playing, no matter when the fights were happening over
Wow.
the bar was cleared out. I thought that was hilarious
Very reminiscent of the
of the original.
Roadhouse.
Yeah,
So, now with that, yeah, Connor did fuck him up, but well, I mean, they were going toe for toe, and then like the dude grabbed him from behind, and then he started like
yeah, he was
teeing off on him.
wailing him. Yeah,
Yeah, just teeing off on him. But then it gets to the point where like like they tussle and they fall outside, and then like he stands up and he just looks at him. I guess in his mind he was just like, I'm gonna have to kill this motherfucker. I'm gonna have to kill him. And he was just like,
yes.
it's it's not worth it. And that was his thing. I'm just gonna walk away. I don't need this.
Yeah.
So
So
basically, it's a whole thing of
yeah,
like he's trying to fight his. Well, I'm not gonna call it his natural instinct, but like he does have a point where he knows that like I can get to a point I get pushed and I lose control and I'm gonna kill somebody. And like I know I can go there. Is just like, and I'm trying not to do that because I've done it before in a setting, especially where I shouldn't. This is like I'm trying not to be that guy. So
he's like
like
with his bloody hands. Look what you made me do.
but like I get that. Like I understand. Like I understand where he's coming from. So like, and that's like a real thing. But at the same
That's
time,
because you feel that kind of anger brewing inside you, Justin.
yes,
We all know
I
this.
have,
Yeah.
I have, I have.
Please, we might have to cut this out. This could be incriminating
No,
evidence.
no, 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 no. I've never murdered anyone with my bare hands. Brandon, I've never murdered anybody, but like
Stop winking at me, Justin.
I've been in a situation where someone was pushing me and pushing me, and I'm just like, oh, I can seriously hurt this guy. And like he had no idea that like who I was at that time. I was like, oh no. And I would come for blood. I'm like, this is but that's why you train, you just like, it's not worth it. I need to leave. And you exit stage right. But the problem, like that is great and I'm here for it. But the fact is, like you said, there really wasn't anybody other than Connor who was taking him to that point. So what was like, why would he go there? Outside of, yeah, the guy messed with, the little girl and Franklin's dad from Snowfall. Uh um and like, yeah, I could see that pushing them over the edge a little bit, but like even
Don't push
so,
me because I'm close to the Edge.
Anyhow, I understand all those things, but like still, I don't think that if you're gonna use that, you gotta put them in a place where the stakes are a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And also he should have been pushed to that. Like it should have been more of an incremental rise because Conor just played it as a complete psychopath. He would have hit that point earlier on in this film.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was, especially once by the time we get to Connor, so many villains have popped up to try to like dispose of him that it's like, okay, I gotta kill somebody, like, or I gotta get the fuck out of town. Like at that point, he's already made like 10 G's, well, maybe 5, because the dude from the dude with the blonde hair who he fucks up at the beginning, the first fight, he tries to run him over with his truck off the bridge. Another cool like action scene and stuff like that. You could tell like it was a little shaky with the CGI, but it's still a fun scene because you're all like, oh shit, like this kind of unpredictable behavior. Like this town's kind of crazy trying to take out this dude. But again, we never really got once we got the reveal of what the big bad wanted, which is the Irish the kid who Billy Magnuson's character, whose dad is calling the shots from jail and shit like that. Like once we got it, he just wants to build a resort. You're kind of like, oh, like that's stupid. Like that's not a big enough reason to do all this stuff. If that's all he wanted to do, they've been terrorizing this bar for months, bro.
Yeah.
Like she's had such high turnover of bouncers. They could have easily gone in for the kill. At one point, he's just like multiple times he orders them to burn down the bar. They could have done that. Like Jessica Williams doesn't sleep there.
Yeah.
He can burn it at 4 a.m. It's like they did that shit in Casino. What were they doing?
Yeah.
Also with Jay Gyllenhaal, I was like, at some point, this nigga's got to sleep, right? You know where he lives. Just wait till he gets in the deep, in the REM sleep, slit his throat.
Or better yet, just burn the boat. Just shoot the boat up.
That too.
Also, the fact is, like, there are no guns in this film.
Yeah, there were.
No, I mean, but like the henchmen, no one pulled a gun.
Oh no, they never got to because Dalton's fucking up their fingers and shit.
Well, but that's the thing. Like this.
Oh, the dude in the boat tried to shoot the shotgun.
Yeah, but like, I mean, realistically, if those guys came into that bar, they'd all have fucking guns.
Oh yeah, probably.
Knowing who the fuck is in there. And that's the thing. When somebody and that's the thing that bothers me a lot about a lot of these, because if somebody realizes like, oh, that motherfucker is dangerous, like really dangerous, we can't handle him. Find me the equalizer, and the equalizer got 6 shots on that motherfucker, or 6 shots or more. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's gonna try to go hand-to-hand combat with this dude, especially with his history. That's just like, oh yeah, he was a UFC fighter. He basically was a champion, but he didn't get the championship because he killed the dude that he was fighting.
Yep.
It's like, so he's prone to extreme violence, and there's nothing really you could do to him. He has a high pain threshold. Like, why would you try to throw hands with this dude?
Yep.
Like, it doesn't make sense, because even like the Ben Brandt, the villain, the main guy, why would you send all these guys? Like, once you realize who's over there, I'm just like, well, all right, how are we going to get rid of this guy? You either shoot him, you either try to buy him, or you just be like, you know what? We'll just wait it out for a little bit. But I mean, well, he couldn't, because he had to get money. Yeah,
that was never clear. Like the timeline was never clear. Like, was this all over like 2 weeks? Like, I had no idea what. And then also, what was Jessica Williams' like? What was Frankie's plan after the month was over? Because these niggas are still operating.
So this is the thing. You probably missed it, but he had to pay back a lot of debt.
Yep.
To all of these people. And that money had to be back by a certain time. And she knew that. So therefore, she was just like, all we got to do is hold out the month. By the end of the month, if he doesn't pay these people back, they're going to kill him. And I don't have to worry about it.
Okay, that's what that scene was about. Okay.
Yeah. So with all of that, now you're at a point where it's like, okay, hold out and you're good. But like, if this is the case, I would just went to him and was like, yo, first of all, I'll pay you more. Like, I'll give you X amount of money. He's like, okay, so you don't want to take the money. Fine, gotcha. Bang. That's over. It's over. Why are you trying to fight this dude? Why are you letting him walk? Like, bang. Like, there are 12 guys with shotguns. It's like, we're gonna get him. And also, I kind of miss the Wade Garrett character.
Absolutely. I think that's a good way for us to kind of summarize, our thoughts on like this remake before we
Somebody needs to call him Miho.
But I just love, I don't know if it was just their chemistry or just how insane Wade's character was, because this dude comes into town, gives a little pieces of advice, and then gets walloped by the local bad guys, and then leaves town like, all right, mijo, I think I said my piece. They're like, no, you're bleeding internally. You need to go to a hospital. Yeah, there needed to be someone like to provide a little bit of levity and show that Dalton actually is a good dude, because we don't really know anything about Dalton out before we meet him, besides he killed some dude in the ring.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about his personal life. And I guess that's the point of like the young girl talking about Westerns and stuff like that. Like, he's the wanderer, right? But which sets this up for sequels, which I hope to God we don't get. But for me, I just kind of like, I agree. Like, I definitely was, because I remember I was like, oh, who's going to play that character in the remake? They haven't announced anybody.
I remember looking, I was like, nobody. I've had a feeling there was going to be nobody that was be playing.
Why? Why cut it though? Such a
fun. So here's
role.
the thing. This is why. Because if you bring in another guy, it's just like, oh, he was his trainer. Da 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 da. Who are they going to get to be that guy? You know what I'm saying? Because he has to be better than Dalton, or he has to be that wise person who like trained them. But if he had that person in his life, he wouldn't have snapped like that in the ring.
You know, it's wild when you look at Doug Liman's filmography, and he has these two connections. Because you're gonna go with a white guy, you gotta go with a white guy, like with this kind of film, because you got white dudes just killing people without repercussions. America, Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt. I think Tom Cruise would have been amazing cameo.
I mean,
and he does wacky. If he believes in the vision, he'll go crazy for you.
Yeah,
that would have been, dude. Just imagine Tom Cruise doing some like roundhouse kicks against Arturo. That would have been hilarious.
Honestly, I think that because they went with the UFC fighter, they didn't want to go all the way. You know what I'm saying? All the way, Roadhouse. And they're trying to make, hey, UFC fighters are, quote unquote, invincible.
Yeah. You know it's a very weird message they're sending about fighting. And stuff.
Yeah. Oh, UFC fighters, they'll kill you. In some cases, yes. But
that's what I liked about Patrick Swayze and Dalton. Patrick Swayze's Dalton is that he was gentle, and he really didn't want to fight. He was like, here's how you move around the fight. So you don't you only defend yourself, but you're not like giving out vengeance the way that this Dalton does.
Yeah.
When I saw an interview that Jake Gyllenhaal recently did, where he's like, I'd be an honor to play Batman. I'm like, this is his audition. This is his audition to play Batman, just beating the fuck out of bad guys.
Honestly though, he'd be a pretty good Batman.
He would. I thought that too. Between this and Prisoners, I'm like, oh, he could be a good Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah, he'd be a great Bruce Wayne.
I think he could be a really good. So I'm like, Warner Brothers. That's all you.
And he also has the frame. Like this is the frame.
Yeah, he's fucking jacked.
It's funny because I was just literally talking to somebody today, and they talked. Did you see our show Reacher?
I haven't watched it yet. I've heard good things. I'll probably watch it soon. I'll probably watch it soon because I got a little bit more free time on my hands. I'll tell you offline about that.
Okay.
Yep.
So so that show Reacher, the main guy from that, somebody was like, yeah, he should play Batman. I was like, he's way too big to play Batman.
Yeah, that guy is fucking. And he also isn't, from my understanding, is Reacher. He's good, but he's not like that. If you can get Jake Gyllenhaal actor like that to play your Batman, like you go for it. because he's Oscar nominated, I believe, at least twice. Um, he's very intense. People know who he is. Alan Richter, I think, who's the guy who plays Reacher. No one knows who that dude is outside of seeing him in Reacher.
Yeah, he was
like even when he's in Fast 10, people are like, "Oh, Reacher." No one knows the actor's name. People know who Jake Gyllenhaal is. So just when you think about box office too, because now it's like you're gonna have the Robert Pattinson Batman. You got to think about who's big enough or who's different enough where they would be like, "Oh, I'll go see him as this character too."
Yeah,
that's
and again, frame wise, like this, Jake Gyllenhaal has the Batman frame.
Yeah, I think he could be good. And he's old enough where he could be Damien's dad still, but not too old where you're like, all right, nigga, like, why were you putting your powder in, Talia?
Your powder. Your powder.
The little dusted egg whites. Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. So, guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any of this fresh, sweet popcorn, or salty popcorn, we throw it into the stale.
Do you like sweet popcorn?
I do. I like them like caramel on my popcorn, or like the chopped ones.
Oh, I've never done those, but I've obviously done Cracker Jack. I've done like the cheese and elote and stuff like that. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I've never done sweet popcorn.
I'm not a huge popcorn guy, so that stuff brings me to the table. Okay. Yeah.
When you were a kid, do you remember those colored popcorns that they used to have?
Oh,
I forgot what they were called.
Pink and blue. And
yeah. What the fuck was that?
I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I just remember those commercials being terrifying. I'm like, I don't want my popcorn to look like a fucking glow in the dark tile. Anyways, continue our ratings.
That looks radioactive.
Also, I think it was way too expensive for it. I think it was just a no immediately. Once I saw the price, I'm like, oh, I'm not kidding.
I'm like, not me. We throw it into the stale popcorn pile where you can pile as many stale popcorns on top of it. So, Brandon, we watched the 2024 remake of the classic Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Conor McGregor, Post Malone, and Arturo Castro, because we're throwing him up there because like he brought something nice to this film. What say you, sir?
Yeah, this gets us small. Great cinematography, set pieces, and fight action sequences aside, which is very impressive because after John Wick 4, I'm like, it's really tough now to impress me with stunt work and just action scenes, especially from an American director. And Doug Liman did his thing with that. So I will give him kudos there. But tonally, this is just not, it just didn't hit. And again, that's a hard balance to hit with a movie like Roadhouse. The performances, most of them were very flat, particularly Jessica Williams, which was very disappointing because, again, I love her, but she just was. And I think some of the editing was weird. Some of the editing like killed, like chopped dialogue up in a weird way. And then, like you said, Conor McGregor is just fucking nuts in this. Like, he's in a completely different movie.
Yeah.
He's in a completely different movie. There was not one scene where he matched the energy of anyone around him, where he matched the scene around him. Like, between even his outfits, I'm like, this just doesn't make any sense. Like, who is this guy? And the fact that no one knew why he was actually there and he didn't even kill Dalton, it seemed like there was like 2 days after Dalton like may or may not have like decided to leave town where he finally was like, oh, I should go find Dalton. Like it just made no sense. So small popcorn, too inconsistent for me.
All right. So I'm just gonna say this. I enjoyed this film.
Okay.
I enjoyed this film, but the problems in this film are really what kind of were killing it for me. And one of the, like I said earlier, one of the main problems for me was Conor McGregor. I think so. I'm going to give this a small. I think that this is a medium film.
Okay.
But you know what? I could be swayed into giving this a large if it wasn't for Conor McGregor.
Okay.
If it was for Conor McGregor brings it down to a small. And that's not, it's not like I'm a Conor McGregor hater or anything like that. It's because he killed scenes and he killed the momentum of the film.
Yes. There was times where I was literally like, what is he saying? Like, I gotta
Well,
rewatch this on Amazon Prime now and try to decipher.
It's not even his accent. It's none of that. It's just the fact is that he was just very bad, and he was. It seems like he was like, I'm gonna steal this scene. Watch me. Oh, you're gonna love this. Like that's like how he went into the movie, and none of it worked. So, in actuality, I look at this film as like, if they had gotten any serviceable actor, this would have been a large a popcorn for me. I think, and almost to the point where even with some of the kind of shaky acting from other actors and stuff like that. But if you like, I've said it 1,000 times on this podcast, your movie is only as good as your villain, right?
Yes,
or the problem, whatever. The problem in this film was the fact that Conor McGregor was in it, and it became apparent to the point where there's when they're on the boat and the character Ben Brandt, the big bad, he sees Conor McGregor coming in a speedboat. He's just like, holy fucking shit, this guy just won't go away.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, my film was like, I wonder if he meant that just like in like.
Oh no, it was very meta. It was very meta, for real. There's no reason why Conor had to go to that thing.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, what's happening over there? Just this fucking. Yeah, I hated it. I hated Conor's performance in this. It was really bad.
And like, even
I was
scene,
hoping it would be okay.
Like in that scene, there was no reason that he showed up there. There's no reason that he showed up there.
No.
Because nothing would have gave him the foresight, like, oh, I need to be there right now. So, and that's the main problem with this film. You have a guy who shouldn't be sharing the screen with Jake Gyllenhaal, and then like, and he's kind of tanking the film.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted to like this film. Like, this is my kind of movie. Come on, baby. This is straight Justin. But he just kind of he was a scene killer as opposed to someone who's going to build that tension.
The stars were not aligned, unfortunately. But folks, that's our review on Roadhouse. Hope you all enjoyed this bonus episode. As always, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads. You can also follow me on Twitter at American Collins. I don't try to call it X because that's some bullshit. And you can follow the show at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms. Take yourself over to youtube.com/Medium P Podcast. Push that subscribe button so you can see videos of our ugly mugs, as well as get alerts about future reviews and celebrity interviews that we have on that page. And then, Justin, people want to support the show financially, as well as follow you on the social medias. What can they do?
Well, first of all, if you want to follow me at J Brown Did It on the socials. But if you want to support this show, you know where to go. And that is Patreon, patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. If you love this show and you want more Brandon, you want more Justin, so you're going to get mini shows. You want to get extra content, so you're going to get some bonus episodes. And you get our entire backlog of every episode that we ever did. It is on Patreon, and it's waiting for you to sign up. And Idris will welcome you. So again, guys, that's patreon.com/medium popcorn. And if you're feeling extra froggy, tell us what you feel about this film. Tell us what you felt about Conor McGregor's performance. And that can be done by leaving us a voicemail at 347-508-0978.
That's right. Call us up. Let us know how you feel about the show, about the movie, about life, because we know there's a lot going on. And I personally am not sure spending 2 hours watching this Roadhouse movie is worth it, even if it is at home. But, do what you want to do. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all soon.
Medium popcorn, we are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn, woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault.